You're listening to episode number 36 of the Indie Film Tribe podcast with me, your host, Angela Matamocha. Welcome. Hi there, good people. Hi. Angela Matamocha here of Indie Film Tribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, really excited to share this guest with you today. This man is a phenomenal actor. He has literally worked on so many shows, everything from Law and Order to The Bold and Beautiful to NCIS to Modern Family and so much more. Like literally his credits just go on and on and on and on. And now what's super exciting, he is stepping into the role as producer as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the Rico Anderson. Welcome.
I love that introduction. Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome to have you here. Rico, you have been working in this town for such a long time. Tell us, let's just jump right into it. What is it that you love about being an actor? Let's talk about what you love first. Why do you do this?
Angela, I love performing. I've loved performing ever since I was a little boy. I was always that ham of a kid who always just kind of took things a little too far, and and it's funny. Like when I was a kid, I used to always watch a lot of TV, and I would see characters on different shows that I was just like, ah, man, I would love to be able to play that. Look what this person is doing, and all the fun they seem like they're having. And it just got to the point where at one point I was like, this sounds like something I would love to do, and I would love to actually go to LA and do something like that because, hey, it looks like a lot of fun. And these are kids and adults doing it. So I was like, wait a minute, I can be an adult and have fun? This is something I got to try. So, I love the fact that being an actor just allows you to play, allows you to create, allows you to continue being the thing that you were even when you were a kid, just this carefree individual that enters different worlds and just plays all these various characters and just has what always seems like fun doing it.
And it is so much fun doing. It really, truly is.
Yeah.
You came from the Bay Area, is that right? Is that where you first started acting, or was it right in LA?
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, the south side of Chicago, Hyde Park. But then when I was 10, I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, and that's where it really kicked off. My love of the arts and all things TV and film really did start in Chicago, but in the Bay Area, that's where I was like, wait a minute, I'm in a place where that's very rich in culture, in the culture of the arts and all different areas, from TV to film to theater to a lot of independent film to music. And that's where I was just like, man, this is where I could really start this off and really get some things happening. And so yeah, that the long form answer to that question is yes. I'm originally from Chicago, but I claim the Bay Area as well, and I really started I say that I started my career in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm very proud of it too. Still to this day, some of my best memories come from there.
Is helluva part of your vernacular?
Helluva, but if you're a kid, you can't say hella, so you have to say hecka. So I remember my little sister Sierra. She would come back. She'd be like, Rico, da-da-da-da-da-da. It was hecka cool, and I'd be like, watch it, little girl. What you trying to say? And let's just keep it PG here. But yeah, hella is our word. That is our word. And I think dude is like a pretty much a California thing, though.
Dude.
Also. Dude, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Women say it to women, so. So
oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So, what are you most excited about right now in your career? I mean, you have worked on so many different types of films. I know you come from a very strong theater background. You've done television. What just excites you the most right now?
I'm involved in a lot of different, like I've got my hand in so many different pies,
Mm.
which is great. I love the idea that I'm busy. I love being busy. I don't like being just not busy. I mean, I love to live. I love to go to the beach. I love to do things recreational. I love to have fun. Obviously, everyone should. But when it comes to this business, especially in this town in Los Angeles, there can be so many times when you're not doing anything. And I love the fact that I'm a very busy individual right now. I'm a huge sci-fi fan. Been ever since I was a little bit boy. And I've been very blessed to be a part of this incredible sci-fi community that produces a lot of independent sci-fi productions. What's great about it is it's an indie community, but it is kind of a marriage between a lot of mainstream sci-fi actors and producers who have worked on various shows like Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, and all these various sci-fi franchises, and but they're coming over into the independent community and really tapping into that genre that has been open and it has produced some incredible work. I was in a Star Trek pilot called Star Trek Renegades, and that was like one of the just the highlights of my whole career. Just being in a being in a franchise that I love so much, that I grew up watching and admiring and reading and now actually performing in that franchise. But not only that, but also performing in the franchise amongst people that I grew up watching and emulating and looking at and going, I know you were such and such from such and such. And now I'm like either having a scene with you, or I'm sharing the same screen credit, or I've hung out with you on set, and we have that. We have that. You can't take that away, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I've been very blessed to be a part of that.
What is that like for you when you're actually sharing a scene, acting with someone that you've looked up to your whole life or that you've watched on television your whole life? Is that nerve wracking for you?
It can be, and one of the biggest things, like, look, you can't nerd out right away. You can't. You got to keep it professional. You got to keep it cool. You know how it is. It's just like you got to be like, hey, I'm me. He's he. She's her. We got to do our thing. And I always keep it professional. I mean, I always say that I'm an actor first and I'm a fan second. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. And I always make a point of keeping that together. And trust me, I'm one of the biggest sci-fi fans you will ever meet. So when I'm shaking hands with somebody that I'm just like, dude, you're an icon. I really love your work. It's sometimes trying to keep that that's squee in is not an easy thing. But you do it because you're there for the work. And it shows obviously that this person is also a professional. You're a professional. You're on equal ground in that respect, and you come in there and you do the work, and they see that and they appreciate that, and they also know that, okay, especially within the indie sci-fi community, they know, look, you may be a fan, but you're not just a fan who just wants to be in a sci-fi project. You're not just a fan who just lucked out and has this opportunity to be in this project with somebody, which is fine. But in my case, I always look at it as, look, I am a fan. I'm a huge fan, but I have to put that aside for the purpose of the work. And by doing that, that shows my level of professionalism. It also shows that I respect what you're doing, and I want you to equally respect what I'm doing. And hey, man, let's make a movie. Let's make a TV show. Let's do this audio project. Let's make it happen. And that carries over in the long run, because at the end of the day, it shows that this is a person. This is a go-to person. This is the person you can always go to for something, and they're not going to be. It's not going to be an issue with them. So
Because you're such a sci-fi fan and you've grown up watching, these icons, do you have sort of a plan with your agents, with your reps, where you say, this is the type of project I want to work on? Or does it just kind of come up as it comes up? How does that work for you?
I've had the conversation. I haven't had the best of luck in terms of marrying those two together. The majority of the stuff that I've gotten has come from me.
Interesting. Wait, say that again?
The majority of the stuff that I've gotten has come from me, which means, boys and girls, you got to go out there and you got to do a lot of this stuff, a lot of this work yourself. It's the old adage of not sitting around and waiting for things to happen. You have to be proactive within your career, within your life. I mean, just in general, it cannot just be you sitting by the phone. You got to try to make things happen. You got to put yourself out there. You got to stand up and be counted in this industry that could easily gloss you over because, well, first of all, there's so many of us. And, and it's just like, you just never know what this town is going to, or what direction this town will put you in. Try to have at least some level of control of the steering wheel if you can, and try to make those things happen for yourself. I'm kind of going off the rails with the answer. I apologize.
No, you're right on. And this is something that we brushed upon when we first got on the line, but I want to talk about this because you said the majority of the work in sci-fi, in any case, has come from you. So I wonder, because both of us started at a time in the theater, right, when we didn't have all the social media. Do you feel like because of social media that maybe now it's easier to actually, promote yourself and put your projects out into the world? Because it's different, right, from when we started.
It's a lot different, and the answer is yes. I do. I think it's. Look, there are pros and cons to everything, yeah. And there's a lot of negativity that can be associated with social media. But if you look, I focus on the positive in these respects. I mean, look, at one point, all we had in life was snail mail. It was just basic post office, and it took maybe a day or two for your stuff to get to the person that you're trying to say, cast me. Well, now it's a simple click of the button. You get all your materials together, you provide your links, you provide boom. They got it within seconds. So, yeah, there's that. And obviously there's social media, which is very important in this business that we're in, as much as a lot of people don't want to adopt it and they shy away from it. And trust me, I got my issues with a lot of the mentalities in terms of, well, this person got cast because they have more followers. I have my issues with that too, but I also get it. I also understand it to a point, and I embrace a portion of it that just doesn't still so much say if you can't beat them, join them, but just understand why why it is important to have that presence, why it's important to have these modes of advertisement for yourself. Somebody actually said this, which I really take to heart. They said one way to really look at your social media nowadays. A lot of people may not know what this means, but there's a thing called Nielsen ratings. I know you know, but a lot of people don't. But there's a thing called Nielsen ratings, which basically says this is the percentage of people who are watching this program, and this tells us how well the program's doing. Well, in essence, our social media is a lot like the Nielsen ratings. You have followers, which in a lot of cases are hard to get. But you have these people who are following you for various reasons. You have friends who follow you because they're your friends, but you also have people who follow you because they like your work and they respect your work, and they want to see, what are you doing next? What's Rico doing next? What's Angela doing next? What's that person doing next? What's this person doing next? And so it's important. So you do what you can to grow those followers, so you have this set group of people who may not necessarily be your full-on fan base, but as word gets around, that grows, and that it does help, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped me in terms of letting people just know, hey, I got this project coming out, I got this movie coming out, I have this podcast interview that I'm doing that's coming out. check out my website, check out my, got a new IMDb credit, so it's just a lot of different things. I embrace it. I try not to look at the negatives of it all, and I try to really use it for the purpose that I'm not on there showing my ass, or doing things that will get me 50,000 followers. Hey, I'm a professional actor. I'm trying to do my thing, and I'm trying to do it in a way where people will really take me seriously and want to continue to use me. Use me!
Yeah, it's very interesting what you said about social media being, our own sort of Nielsen ratings. I never thought about that, but that's a really great way to think about it. And what was very interesting to me, because I'm still learning how to use it properly, but just stepping into the independent film world, a lot of producers or directors that have smaller budgets and are looking to cast literally do look at a person's followers. Because at the end of the day, we are a business, right? So if I'm casting a film, and I know that if I cast so-and-so with 2 million followers, when my film comes out, there's going to be an audience that's going to want to purchase the film.
Exactly. And the other thing about it is, when you use social media, like going back to, I've gotten a lot of my own work. I've used social media as a means to get that work. Getting Star Trek I got that through me being able to contact certain people that I knew who could help me get in touch with the director and one of the producers of the pilot. From that success from Star Trek, I was able to tap into other independent sci-fi communities. It's a very small world in that community, so I was able to tap into those people and let them know who I am and what. Now, in Star Trek Renegades, I wore full prosthetic makeup, so you can't recognize my face. So a bigger part of me really plugging myself was going, this is me as Rico, but this is who I played. I got this, and I want in terms of your project. Here's my information. I would love to work with you. That type of thing. So I would follow people on Facebook. I would follow people on Instagram. And trust me, I'm not saying I'm the social media god. I'm still learning myself. And I think it's fair to say that we all sometimes slip when it comes to, posting and things like that. But I really do try to take advantage and use those things to my advantage as much as I can towards getting more things. And I have gotten work off the fact that people have said that I've looked at your social media, and sometimes it's not even a matter of my followers. A lot of times it's the things that I've posted. Man, you get out there, you're doing a lot of things, you're at these events, you're doing these projects. They're seeing that I'm very active, and sometimes that is just as good as gold when you compare it to somebody who has a lot of followers. So they see that you're working, your look is out there, and all that kind of stuff. So it has different meanings and different definitions behind it in terms of what it can do. But it's also, so it's a great medium. Just people just need to really embrace it more and just really use it.
Would you mind walking us through? Because obviously you've had success contacting people via social media. It has gotten you work. But I also know that there are people that will just not harass people on social media, but maybe don't have the correct etiquette, So for the actors that are listening, because I'll get stuff in my inbox all the time. Hey, watch my movie. Hey, here's my headshot. I'm like, who?
Right.
What? How do you do that in a way that's professional, but yet still moving your career forward? Because you've had experience in this that has worked. What did you do?
I think I would compare it to if you meet somebody at an event, or you want to be cool without being intrusive. You want to show a level of professionalism that shows that you're not a stalker. You can be a fan. It's okay to be a fan. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't be that fan that kind of takes it a little too far and doesn't know when to, I call it, move on to the next table. You know what I mean? I always appreciate people saying that they enjoy my work, or they, and all that. I'll never not, love that. But there, you just need to know when to stop. In so many words, I think one of the biggest things, especially when it comes to social media, is it's something as simple as please allow me to introduce myself. My name is such and such, and I usually try to make it so part of my first introduction is I am a professional actor living in Los Angeles. Even when I meet people in person, who's like an A-list celebrity or whatever, I go, "Hi, my name is Rico Anderson. I'm a fellow actor." And I make it so they know I'm a fellow actor just like you. You may have done this for a long time. You may have you may be this A-lister, and I respect your work, but I'm also a fellow actor too. And we're here, and I'm meeting you. Nice to meet you. That type of thing. So I try to keep it as professional as possible, but I also let them know without being, sounding like a moron or anything, that I'm what you are as well, and I'm going to put myself on that same plane as you. The only difference is, your status, because of, you're a household name, or people know you. You have a lot of awards or whatever. So in that respect, I just try to keep it professional in terms of my introduction. Letting them know I understand that you have a project that you've been working on, and I'm not sure if you've completed casting, or I'm not sure if whatever is happening. I would love the opportunity to meet you, to audition with you. If not, here's my information for future consideration in other projects. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Sometimes I can, go a little bit crazy with the letter that you have to kind of condense.
Now, is this something you send via email? Is this something you do in a private Facebook message?
I've done both.
Great.
I've done both. I try to tap into any resource. I mean, if I don't have your email and I got you on Facebook, hey man, I'm gonna be like, hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah. I don't know. A lot of people don't check their Facebook messages, so it's a shot in the dark. I've done that with Instagram too. Again, I'm not I'm not trying to like stalk anybody or troll anybody, but I try to use the resources that are available to me. I mean, I would say maybe I've done it maybe once, maybe twice on Instagram, but I've done it a few times on Facebook. More so because there are, the Facebook pages of a lot of the productions that are involved. So I'll hit up the productions and go from there, like those pages. And chances are, whoever is running the production page itself, they're usually, because it's independent, they may not be heavily staffed. It's usually the person who's the producer or the director. And so I'll do it like that. But now, if I do have an email, I will do that. I've done that with casting directors. Just introduced myself, included my IMDb Pro link, maybe a couple of headshots, my website, just the basic stuff that they're going to look at, especially like your IMDb Pro link. And again, just keep it simple. Like to introduce myself, here I am, anything comes up that you think that would be right for, I would love the opportunity to audition with you. I'm also very careful with my words too. I will say, I won't say if there's something, I'll say when there's something. I try to keep it as positive as possible, saying that I know something is going to come up, and as the result, or I'm going to be very optimistic over the fact that something's going to come up, and a lot of times I'll even end it with thank you and I look forward to meeting with you.
Great.
I don't know if I'm going to ever meet that person, but I'm going to throw it out there that I look forward to. And, within the context of my letter, it's not going to look like I'm some stalker, right. So once you read something at the end, like, I look forward to meeting with you, it doesn't seem like, I was like, creepy dude throughout the whole thing. And I'm like, I want to meet you, it's
right.
not like, so, yeah. So I try to choose my words, and I try to keep it as I do keep it as professional, and just to let them know, listen, this is me putting myself out there, and this is me wanting in. I want in what you're working on, what you're creating, and I'm going to give you every reason on the planet why you should consider me. I don't necessarily say it like that. I have said I want in. I did that with Star Trek, and I was very I was very careful about my wording, but I was also very adamant over the fact that this is something that I would love to be a part of, and I really hope is something that could work.
Okay, so for those of you listening, how I first met Rico back in the day was through the Roby Theater Company, maybe 10 years ago. How long has it been now?
It's been 10 years, maybe a little longer, but yeah. I know. Let's just say 10 years and leave it at that.
We'll say 10 years, leave it at that. And one of the things, and again, I just want to discuss social media a bit more. From when we started back then, like, you're saying, you're able to reach out to certain people via the internet, Facebook, what have you. There's a role that's right for you. Back in the day, we would literally either mail it, like you said, or drop it off. Like an 8x10, drive over to the office and drop it off. Remember those days?
I do. I mean, at one point, we were even able, I think it was even easier to get on the studio lot, certain studio lot. I always remember people saying, yeah, I just dropped, I was able to get on Paramount, da-da-da. Not so much today, but yeah, that was the thing. You have like drop-off parties, or you do a drop-off carpool thing where it's just like 4 of you and your friends, and we're just like slinging headshots like nobody's business.
Oh my gosh.
People don't know.
I know. It was such a crazy time. And I think it made you feel like really active and a participant in the business. And you were really like literally on the ground hitting those streets, where these days we're hitting buttons.
It's true. I mean, part of me still feels like, man, I just want to, like, I still have headshots in my resume in my car, because I mean, obviously we still use them for certain auditions. We still come in with them, but every now and then I'm just like, man, I know there's going to be somebody who I'm just going to be like, bam, how you doing? My name is Rico. Even though it's easy to be like, do you have a car? And I can just send them an email with all my stuff too. I'm still, and I think that's just an old school mentality where we're just like, man, it's kind of like a musician, how they would have their tape ready to go, or their CD ready to go. They're like, hey, I just want you to look at my work. Can you just take it with you. Just do what you're going to do, just take it with you, It's like that old story, like Mariah Carey, and I'm sure there's like a million of them. But like I heard, like Mariah Carey, that was one of her stories, where it's like, she had a little cassette tape with her little voice, and she was just trying to like get it to the right person. And
I think that's how Madonna started too in New York City. Yeah. She met some DJ, and at the Danceteria or whatever, she handed him the tape. Play my tape. Play my tape.
Yep. And you just hope for the best. So, yeah.
I think that's such a great sort of example of artists doing things for themselves. When you think of some of the biggest artists, they literally pushed themselves. They promoted themselves. They didn't have someone in the very beginning push them forward. They had to do it for themselves. They made their own tapes and sent it to people. They made their own little movies and dropped it off somewhere. I think it's
And you don't see a lot of that. I mean, and it's unfortunate. I mean, going back to me saying I get a lot of my work myself, the reason why I even got involved in the Roby Theater Company is because a friend of mine couldn't originally do the narration for the first Love of Freedom, and she told me about this theater company headed by, started by Danny Glover and Ben Guillory, and I didn't know who Ben was at the time, but I knew who Danny was, and I was like, oh man, Danny Glover's theater company. So I ended up doing it, and from there I ended up, I heard that they were about to mount this thing, so we did the reading. And that was one thing, but now I was like, man, I need to get part of this production. So I remember calling Ben, leaving messages. Ben Guillory is the artistic director of the Roby Theater Company, for people who don't know. Calling Ben and leaving messages. I think I may have left maybe 3 or 4. And I remember getting that phone call eventually from Ben saying, hey, we'll send in a headshot and resume, and we'll see what happens. And, the rest is history, as they say, in terms of just being involved in it and just having the amazing experience that we both had being a part of it and doing it. But it wouldn't have happened had I not been proactive in it. But again, it's going back to that old school way of doing it. I was calling and leaving messages, and mailing in those headshots. So yeah, got to be proactive and gotta find a way. Actually, that's something Ben used to say a lot: find a way. Find a way.
He would. And I also remember him always saying, if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late.
Yeah. I even got on that 10 minutes. I got the 10-minute mark one time.
Okay, yeah. If you're not early, you're late.
You're late. It's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. And people do take note of that. I mean, I'm not the best, but I try my best to be as good on that, as great on that as I can. So, yeah, these are the things that are important,
Rico,
especially in this business.
One of the reasons that I wanted to have you on is because that you are such a great example of how to have longevity in this career, right? So from where you started with mailing in headshot days to now on social media, clicking who you're trying to get a hold of and want to, introduce yourself to, how does one, or how do you, in your experience, keep going? Because there are dry spells, there are good times, there are bad times, and I have seen so many people just check out, just say, you know what, I've got a family to feed, or I need to make more money, I'm out. And I'm sure you know these people too. How do you stay? How do you stay?
Angela, I'm one of them. I mean, I have my moments where I'm just like, man, what was I thinking? What am I thinking? Why don't I just, what am I doing this for? Why am I putting myself through this? You get to a certain age even where you're just like, my God, where am I now compared to where I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Why am I still doing this? One of the things I found that I notice a lot of actors don't do is look at everything that this business offers. We're actors, and a lot of us move here to be TV stars, movie stars. But there's voiceover, there's theater, there is writing, there are writers groups, there are things that you can do to always stay busy during those business hours, if you want to call it that. I've always been an advocate of staying busy. I come from a theater background, so doing theater has always been like my go-to, and it's never not been my go-to. I've taken a bit of a sabbatical from doing it, but whenever I get the opportunity to even do a stage reading, I try to jump on it. Because to me that's being busy. You're also networking as well, so there are double advantages to it. But write. We all have ideas. We all have thoughts in our head. Man, right. Even if you're not a writer, write down your ideas. I'm not necessarily a writer per se, in the sense that I know writers, but I got ideas and I'm gonna write them down. But then that's where you collaborate. You get with a partner, somebody you can write with, and get that going. It's like, oh my God, there's just so much you can do. But then do voiceover. I've known so many actors who were like, yeah, I thought about it, and I was one of those. And eventually I got into it, and next thing I know, I'm like, man, what the heck was I thinking all this time? Do voiceover. Get into a voiceover class. Try to get a voiceover agent. Now you have that going. And here's what's interesting. And of course, do commercials and things like that. Set yourself up where you're auditioning for all these things. And here's the thing. At a time when it was dead theatrically for me, all of a sudden I'd have this streak of commercial auditions. At a time when it was dead commercially for me, all of a sudden I'd have this streak of voiceover auditions. And sometimes they would overlap. And sometimes they overlap to the point where I'm calling this agent going, hey, is there a time frame between this commercial, that whole thing. So it's just like, next thing you know, you got all these different things going on. And then when that's done and you still got time left in the day, man, go to a coffee shop, go home, go wherever, write. Or chill, go to the beach, do whatever, whatever time you have. That a big part of that helps to keep the sanity, and also like on the weekends, kind of going back to going to the beach, hike, work out, go on vacation, go somewhere for the weekend if you can. Try to do other things that don't have a relation to this business. Helps keep your sanity. Because you can lose your mind in this town. This town can be a soul sucker in a heartbeat if you invest so much to it and you don't invest outside of it. So I say all of that to say that a big part of longevity is staying busy and being versatile and and mixing it up a little bit. You mix it up. Hey, it's not just the same old, and it helps. It helps get you through the week, helps get you through the weekend, and then Monday you waking up fresh, going, man, let's do this. Let's go get it. So.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the reasons I wanted to speak with you, because from what I see, and like going back to social media, what you post and all your involvement, you're such a part of the Hollywood community, and you have such a positive outlook, it seems. And I just think to myself, how is it that Rico, all these years, is just working and hustling and still such a light? And I just want to acknowledge you for that, because that is tough to maintain for over 10, 15 years, whatever it is. We won't say.
Right. Been here for a hot minute.
Right? Yeah. So that's just, it's amazing, and it's also so inspiring for other actors to see, other people in the industry to see that your life is so full, that you are going to the beach, you are hiking, but then you're also doing Star Trek, and you're also in it day to day, and you're versatile. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge you for that, because I just think it's so inspiring, and I think a lot of people can learn simply by watching you.
I appreciate that. I mean, there are times when I am too busy to do a lot of these things. But when I do have the opportunity, I really do try to take advantage of it as much as I can. And, it's different for everybody. I mean, people have various levels of responsibilities. They have kids. They have, they have various different things that may not afford them the luxury of being able to just do this and that. And that's understandable, but it's just always good to have some level of an escape, or in some cases within this business, just have that level of versatility. It's all there. It's just a matter of pursuing it and really being adamant about it. This business can be very wonderful to the people who really go out there and strive hard towards getting it. And when you're having fun in it, it just makes it that much more pleasant to be a part of, even during the times when you're feeling like, oh God, and you just feel like there's not a whole lot going on. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I think just having that level of versatility is very important. Keep your house clean too. It's just like, and just try to declutter as much as you can for the purpose of having that sanity continue to be what it is. I say these things, and these are things that I deal with on a daily basis as well. I'm not saying everything is perfect within myself, but I do try to maintain as positive an attitude as I can, and I really do try to continue. I just got to continue to keep the trend. Look, at the end of the day, I moved out here for a purpose. I don't want to be where I'm at 10, 15 years from when I moved out here. That's it. It's not an easy business to move along with, but 10, 15 years from now, you should be in a different spot. You should be in a different place, and you should always challenge that if you're not, and ask questions as to why, and what can you do to make it so you are doing more, or you are not just playing the same part, or you're going out for the same things, or you're constantly just going out for one thing theatrically, and you're not going out for something commercially or for voiceover, or you're doing a play if you want to choose to do theater. Got to mix it up. You gotta do it. You will become so stale so quickly if you don't, and then a lot of the bitterness will come in. So, and continue to take classes also, which I think is very important also, when you can afford it, and it also helps in terms of your community as well.
Affordability, if you can afford it, if you don't mind speaking on this, because those of us that live in LA, this is a real deal.
Yeah.
Paying rent, LA's not cheap, having headshots, being able to afford classes, and maybe not booking something, or the residuals check start, diminishing over time.
Yeah.
How have you found for yourself that's worked as far as just like keeping afloat? Just the basics, that can be a huge struggle, and to stay positive.
this is not me bragging, but I'm very blessed to be able to say that I'm a working actor, and I've been able to live off of that, based on just the things that I've done within the business, the roles that I've taken, and things like that. So I've been very blessed to be able to afford a lot of that flexibility. It it to me does not in any way, shape, or form means that I can just kick back on a daily basis and just put my feet up and let my hair down. So, but it does say a lot to what I have done and my persistence in this business. But there were times when I didn't have a lot of that luxury, and I didn't have the means to be able to take the classes and have that type of flexibility. It's one of those things where I try to say it kind of goes back to find a way, and just whatever you can do, try to do it where it will work for you. Classes do offer payment plans and things like that. And again, look, I'm not saying it's that easy, just go do it, because it's not. Right. But in a lot of respects, just find a way. If your agent says you need new headshots, chances are you probably need new headshots. Find a way to get the money to get those headshots. You just got to do it. Because otherwise you're waiting around and years go by, months or years or whatever go by, and you haven't advanced, maybe because it's the headshots, maybe because you need more material on your reel, maybe because of, just a lot of different things. So it's just really finding a way. Something as simple as just getting not simple, but something like just getting your SAG card. A lot of people can't get it because it's too freaking expensive. But you have to get to a certain level in your career, you got to join the union. So find a way to find that money to get it. So it's just really trying to, and I know people who do it, and I see it happening, and it's not easy. But find a way to make it happen somehow, and do it. This is the game of, if you really want this bad enough, and look, do it legally. Don't I'm not. I don't want people to be like, "Well, Rico said find a way." Wait a minute.
No, I like that though. Find a way. Find a way.
I take that to heart. Ben Guillory, he said it. I'm giving Ben credit on that. He said it, find a way. And he said that in relation to when we were doing Love of Freedom, and there were certain things that he was looking to get out of us, and it's just like, well, you can do it this way, you can do that, whatever way you do it, find a way to make that happen. And that just resonated with me so much, and I've used that throughout every aspect of my career in so many different ways. And I come through roadblocks a lot in that, and I'm still at certain roadblocks, but I try to find a way around it. If I really wanted to be in the Star Trek project, man, I was going to find a way, and I was going to be as bold as I can, to the point where I'm actually seeking out the director / producer and seeing if I can get in. And that's what you got to take chances. You got to take chances. You got to try to do something that may be outside of your comfort zone in terms of seeking out or asking. But again, it goes back to being professional about it, and doing it in a way where you're not perceived as that guy or that girl who's too creepy or stalkerish or things like that. But you got to take those chances, and you just got to find a way. Here's another thing. In the things that you do, in the things that you post, this is just my thoughts on, especially online and like my Instagram and my Facebook and all these things. I get my likes and I get my comments and all that kind of stuff. But then sometimes you get the people who may not like or comment. You never know who's watching. You never know who's looking. You never know who is out there actively checking you out and I'm saying in the business,
Yeah.
and maybe actually kind of just watching to see what's happening. What's Rico up to this time? What are you doing? Something else that I learned that I remember Ben saying was, and I remember this coming from when I did part one, because the part that I had in part one, I was one of the soldiers, and I had maybe 2 lines, and with that play, there was a lot to be done still, but I had 2 lines, and I had a lot that was going on. We both had a lot that was going on. One thing Ben said that has still resonated, and I use this even with social media and stuff. He said, "You may not think, or you may not realize people are watching,
Yes.
but they are. You may not think they're paying attention, but they are. The little thing you may think you're doing compared to the star of the show or whatever, people are recognizing that. People are watching. They see it. They see you. You know that saying, I see you. It's like they see you. But the thing is, in a lot of cases, you don't know who is. So, you do these things because it could. You just never know who's watching.
Yeah, and for the people that are listening, what Rico was referring to is Levi Lee's trilogy, For the Love of Freedom, of Dessalines, of Christophe, this amazing, brilliant, just phenomenal. And there are so many actors and so many parts. So I completely understand where Ben's saying, where he's coming from. If you're that actor on stage that just has that 1 or 2 lines with all these other actors, but if you are not in it for just a split second, or you just are out because you don't have lines, people see you.
Yeah.
People see you.
Because they're so engrossed in everything that's going on.
Yes. And you have to be as well.
Right. What we did in that, Angelo, it was such a huge ensemble piece that everybody had a level of importance. And the way it was staged and the things that we were doing, amazing. Oh my God. You could not help but be a person in the audience just looking here, looking there, looking up, looking down.
There was so much to see. Right.
Exactly. It was so much to see, so much to take in. And it's from the biggest thing to the littlest thing. You may not think people are watching, but they are. And I've really took that to heart. And Love of Freedom really spoke to that in terms of everything and everybody and the parts they played, what we did, and just the magic that we created.
The dance moves. all of it.
Come on. Now, the dance moves alone.
Woo!
It's like, from the acting to the dancing to the music. Leon Mobley.
Yep.
Yes. It's just like it's goosebumps. Getting a little chills right now. It was just a wonderful piece to be a part of. I know we're kind of straying away from what we were talking about, but ensemble is everything, and these are the things that what's great about theater is you take these lessons and you people study, take classes. If you can get into theater, please do it, because it's the root of all of this. It's the root of you and I talking today. It's the root of everything you watch on TV. It's the root of all the reality shows that you watch and all the music that you listen to. It all comes from a place of performance that starts on the stage. It comes from that, and you have to respect that and take classes and learn the history of it and know. And just know and have fun and get in a situation where somebody drops a line or somebody says a line that's 5 pages away and you sitting up there stuck, and people are who paid $25, $30 and looking at you like, what you gonna do? And you and your other actors looking at you like, I got nothing, what you gonna do? And
you work it out. You find a way.
Find a way, because you
have to.
You got to. You can't.
There is no second take.
No, you can't yell cut. You can't. You just got. You got to work it out. You got to find a way. So there's something to be said about that. It's almost like freestyling in a way. It's like all of a sudden you got the mic. What you gonna do? All these people here watching you. You about to rock it? Because right now it's on you. No matter if it's fair or not, it is on you.
I agree with you 110%. I think theater is such a foundation. It is the best training. And if you can do theater, you'll be just fine.
You will be fine.
Yep.
You will be fine. And it's fun. It's look, challenge yourself, people. It's all about challenging yourself in this business.
Rico, I want to ask, what if you can speak to some actors that maybe need a bit of inspiration or education, what is a book or two that has like really helped you stay on course? Is there something that you've read? Is there a certain thing? Do you have a favorite book that has helped you in this industry?
Well, one of the things that I read before I moved out here was Chicken Soup for the Soul. Yeah, and there's so many of them. But I remember reading the original, and I love the stories, the inspiration that came from it, and the things that what spoke to me in terms of just dealing with life and things that may come your way that maybe you don't expect, obstacles. Finding a way out of certain things, finding a way to navigate certain things, finding a way to make things happen. That does feed your soul, because it's going to be so challenging up here in your head. And I actually remember, okay, so we have a subway system up in the Bay Area. It's called BART. Yeah, and I remember taking the BART somewhere. I took it into the city for something. I can't remember, but I remember having that book, and I remember reading a couple of stories from it. And I remember that I was making the plans to come to Los Angeles, and so it was. I told myself, this is going to be the first time I'm actually leaving all that I know behind in this fashion. I was leaving my mom. I was leaving my siblings. I was leaving a lot, and it was a lot for me. And it was a question of, how am I going to be able to navigate in a world where I don't have that net and that comfort factor. Yeah, it's a phone call away, and the Bay Area is only like 6 hours driving, 1 hour by flight, but I'm still here and they're still there. So there's still a difference. It's not. Oh yeah. I didn't move from New York. I didn't move from overseas, but I'm still. You're
not home.
Right, I'm not home, and that's my story. Your story's somewhere else. So It's like I'm still. So. I read that. That's just one. I mean, there's a lot of them. I read a couple of autobiographies also, just to get some insider inspiration in terms of how a lot of people dealt with their journey. Sidney Poitier was one. This Life. It's an autobiography that was extremely inspiring. Actually, my grandmother gave me that book, and she told me that if I want to be an actor, this is someone who I should read up on and learn and really study and just know. And I did. And
talk about perseverance and talk about just belief and conviction.
Yeah. Didn't speak a lick of English when he got here.
Nope.
And came up in the ranks from sweeping the floor at a local theater to just getting a break because he met somebody and they had a role, and he took classes and somebody believed in him also. So there's a lot, and that story is not an old story, because it's still that today from different people in their life and where whatever respective place they come from. So there's that. I would say read autobiographies, because it really helps to give you autobiographies help to tell you that you're not alone in how you're feeling. You're not alone in how your journey is happening, beginning or continuing. Maybe there's some similarities.
Love it.
Yeah. I could.
Those are great.
Yeah,
those are fantastic.
I mean, there are acting books out there, and I would say definitely, read up. Go to Samuel French. Okay, here in Los Angeles we have Samuel French Bookstore, which is a bookstore that has plays and autobiographies and screenplays and things like that. You can pick up and look at and read stuff like that. Read plays, get inspiration from that as well. Look at the things that read the classics, read Shakespeare, but also read like Neil Simon and read, what I'm saying? Read James Baldwin.
Yes.
Read know the history of a lot of the things that, think of characters that you think you could play and read up on those type of histories and maybe the people who may have played those characters before. I mean, immerse yourself in all levels of reading in terms of the types of materials that are out there.
Rico, I have to ask this question. I love asking this question. Do you, RicoAnderson, do you feel that you were put on this planet at this particular time for a specific reason? Or for you, do you feel like your being here is just random?
I think there's a reason. I think there's always a reason. Have I truly found that reason yet? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I could say it's to act, but I know I would hope that with my acting I affect people in some way. I mean, the arts is a means of escape in terms of listening to music, types of music, going to movies, going to watch a play, reading, writing. It's all art. It's all art. Going to a museum, and looking at a painting or something. I feel like that is one thing that I could say. One reason I could say is why I was put on this earth. I feel like I affect people, especially in theater, and some of the plays that I've been very blessed to be a part of and doing. I also feel that way towards my family as well. I'm a big brother. I'm a nephew. I'm a uncle. I'm a father figure. I'm not a father, but I'm a father figure. And I feel like through what I do, my actions, I would hope that it has some level of an effect on my siblings, my nieces and my nephews, and just the people that I came before, and that hopefully I instill some level of wisdom to them in that. So, I think, but I also say that, and I think that's with anybody. Whatever your respective profession is, be the best at it, and then some, and affect how you're going to be. How are you going to be a part of that? Or that effect that it's going to have on whoever. In the case of our business, how does your acting affect? How does your journey affect other people who are coming up, who look to that inspiration towards continuing in this business? But also on a personal level, how does that affect your family? How does that affect your friends? I'd like to think that there's a balance, but I honestly feel like I'm not there yet, and I feel like I'm still growing in that respect. And I look forward to hopefully bearing witness to that outcome. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I believe it will. I believe I will know, but I don't believe I'm there yet. I say that, and I feel like that I do have a positive outcome when it comes to my family, my siblings, and I've had people who said that I inspire them towards this and that, and that's great to hear. It's hard to take sometimes, but you're getting me choked up here, Angela. Stop it. Knock it out, girl. But I do feel very strongly in that, and
Love it. Love it. Rico, for people that are listening that want to put you in their projects, that want to find you, want to follow you, where can we find you?
Well, I just launched my website, RicoAnderson.com.
Woo!
Finally, and that was an incredible, crazy, piece of advice, people. If you want to launch a website and you have pictures and stuff out there, man, gather them all together now and throw them up there and do it. I mean, you don't have to clutter your website and stuff like that, but just do it as you go. And I think it's a great thing for actors to have, and I think it's a wonderful thing to kind of like put into all your successes and stuff. But RicoAnderson.com is my website. You can always find me on Twitter and Instagram. I am Rico Anderson.
Oh, this looks great. Look at this. Wow.
Are you looking at it?
Yes.
Why are you looking at it?
Great.
So yeah, people can follow me on RicoAnderson.com. Look, I'm always looking for more followers on Instagram and Twitter. I am Rico Anderson. Follow me, people. And Facebook is our actor Rico E. Anderson and also Rico Anderson. I have 2 pages. Like a lot of people do. So
actor Rico E. Anderson and Rico Anderson.
Rico Anderson, yeah, you'll see a smiling face up there if I'm not trying to put a mean mug face up there.
Thank you so much for being here today. This was just awesome. And again, thank you for being such a light in this business. I will continue to watch you, and I get so inspired by you. So thank you so much, Rico. And thank you, Indie Film Tribe, for hanging out with Rico and I today. Until next time, bye.
Appreciate it. Peace and love.